Hello, I'm Robin and I'm a normal alcoholic. Today I'm going to go through some of the options of where and how you can get help if you think you have a problem with alcohol. This isn't a complete list by any stretch, so they're only going to be the ones that I know because I've used them all. If you have any suggestions, please feel free to put them in the comments so that other people can see what's out there. Also, if you're outside the UK, then some of these won't be available to you. But here we go. I'm going to start with the more extreme options, maybe. So first up is hospital. This may seem overkill for some of you, but in certain situations, you just have to go. And I'm not just talking about, someone who's gone out and had too much to drink for the night. Yes, they may need that tonight, but what I'm getting at is those people that have been drinking for days, if not weeks on end. Their body and their mind are completely shot and they need to do something urgent to get out of that drinking cycle. At hospital, the doctors will make sure that you're in a fit state. They may give you fluids to make sure that you're hydrated. They may, if possible, give medication to help. But they will also put you in touch with the first line support that you need in your local area. If you've been drinking for longer than a week continuously, it can actually be very dangerous to stop drinking abruptly or go cold turkey. I have a whole video dedicated to alcohol detox. So if you feel that's what you need, please check that out. Also, I've got a whole range of videos about alcohol and addiction. So check those out, like, subscribe, all that. Next up is rehab. Again, some of you probably aren't in the state that you need that. But if you do, then I know this isn't available to anyone unless you have some quite serious money lying around. But if you can't get out of that cycle of continuous drinking, then it may be the only option left for you. Go on Google, have a look. If you ring around, you'll probably be able to find somewhere that can have you in within 24, 48 hours, if not on the same day. Most rehabs will expect you to check in for at least 2, if not 4 weeks. They will give you a complete supervised medical detox and then an ongoing program of support and recovery for the remainder of your time there. Going to rehab isn't like checking into a health spa. They'll expect you to really work on yourself. If you can afford this option, it may be the best money you ever spend. But if not, and you're in that critical condition, go to hospital. Last on the urgent list, and not quite so urgent, is going to be your local authority drug and alcohol services. This is where I went as my first port of call. You can find their details on the NHS or Frank websites. I've put the links below. These centres will have trained medical staff on site, hopefully a doctor and a nurse. They will be able to give you a full assessment within 24 hours, if not on the day. And then you'll be set up with a support worker or key worker. That's someone that you work with one-on-one to start dealing with your issues, get some advice, and then integrate you with other support that's in the area. These centres will often have other services on site like self-help groups, or kind of general wellness and health groups throughout the week. Okay, that's the urgent ones out of the way. If you're not in a critical state right this moment, then maybe some of these. Right, first up, it's your local doctor or your GP. Going to them just for a chat about where you are, how much you're drinking, and what potential help you could get is a great first step. One thing I want to mention here is honesty. You're not going to get the best help unless you're honest with all these people. I mention this now because I feel like your GP is the one that you're most likely to kind of squeeze the truth with. Some people don't necessarily want this kind of thing on their medical records, but there's no point in telling them that you're only having half a bottle of wine in the evening if you're actually having 2 whole bottles every evening. Next up is local charities. This will obviously differ depending on where you are and what's available. But for instance, I used a local charity that ran group therapy sessions for all kinds of addictions. This was a massive help to me in my recovery. Again, you can find out what's available using the websites that I mentioned before. Last up, and some of you probably have thought this one was coming, it's Alcoholics Anonymous. Or if your issue is with other substances, then there's Narcotics Anonymous or Cocaine Anonymous. In fact, there are support groups for all kinds of addiction, all based on the same 12-step program that was developed by AA. These groups are not as drug specific as you might think. Obviously, Narcotics Anonymous covers any mind-altering substance, but what I found is often you'll have people going to Alcoholics Anonymous who have issues with other drugs, or people who are alcoholics going to Narcotics Anonymous or Cocaine Anonymous. They are all dealing with the same issue of addiction, and they will happily allow you in their group. However, you may feel more comfortable going to one that is specific to your drug of choice. Now, these groups also have helplines. AA's runs 24 hours a day. I believe CA and Narcotics Anonymous and Cocaine Anonymous run theirs from 10 in the morning to 10 or 12 at night. I think the best thing about these groups is that they're free. They're everywhere. You'll meet people who have a lot of experience, friendly advice, but also you'll meet people in a similar position to yourself that are maybe only just coming to terms with this, trying to figure out what's going on. The main thing is though, with all of these, it's that you finally open up and talk to someone. Trust me, I know. Taking that first step takes a lot of courage. It can be terrifying. Feelings of shame or embarrassment are probably the biggest things that stop people from actually opening up and dealing with their issues. So whichever one of these you choose, be strong. It will be okay. And I promise it will be the best choice you ever make.